The Jedi are known as the ultimate guardians of peace and justice in the Star Wars film franchise. Throughout the movies, people have learned their ideology, their morals, their duels, and the Force. They've also seen them in their prime and watched their fall, though people and have found a connection to them. They are the good who fight their rivals, the evil Sith, as the balance between them divides the use of the Force. What many people don't know is they are from a time long ago, on Earth, this planet and system that is galaxies away from what it is today. Their stories are told in ancient folklore from Ygd to the Mayans, who reference them as the Skywalkers, which represent the star constellation of Orion. The hunter and hero of the pharaohs, this Jedi, silent D, are mentioned as of old in their day as the stable ones or the civilization's peacekeepers, and are represented by a pillar, as in pillar of the community, and the foundations upon civilization are built. They were the secret order that understood the Osirian mysteries, that is assassinated with the universal force. But the references see them held in higher regard, being full of wisdom that the kings of Ygd would ask to advise. Tot was known as the teacher of universal cosmic forces, and Osiris was a student who became a hero for his duty to the people. Which is the hero worship the people had made him, and was associated with the Orion constellation. The megaliths attributed to them include the Great Pyramids of Giza, as well as many others throughout the world. They too suffered a fall, but with an ancient civilization long before the pharaohs of Ygd. Their civilization ended 12,800 years ago with a cataclysm. Science is afraid to believe, but the evidence is all around, some in plain sight. Building on a global scale left in ruins or inherited, just as the pharaohs of Ygd inherited the buildings they, according to science, are responsible for. Though they dare not go into the many mysteries surrounding Ygd and these sites due to their own firmly fixed timeline, which the pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx don't fit into. They are much older than the 6,000 years they are dated to. The tombs of pharaohs that took 30 years to build and couldn't be repeated today without modern power tools. Science academies refuse the many questions asked about the complexity and how a Bronze Age people could move and carve granite weighing 50 tons plus with copper tools and moving them 500 miles to be put in place perfectly, that they still are a wonder today. With the Jedi's final defeat at the hands of rebel Jedi and Sith, they went into hiding and their names were lost to history, as always is when written by the victors. They would only reappear with the help of George Lucas in 1977, but their continued involvement in human history is clear. With their many names such as the Magi, the Light, and including the Knights Templar, a path had been made for the reappearance in time to save the world from the domination of the few, who hold the world's wealth. Monopolies in media, stocks, and trade as well as banking has given them total control over the world's most important resources. Their evil started with the control of the people through twisting religion, and is why the Bible speaks of a God that is malevolent and cruel, harshly treating the people and giving harsh rules that we're encouraged to break. But their true purpose was to continue the old stories for the future, as a warning and message that they once lived. These texts were largely misunderstood and soon came into the hands of people who would use it as a way to control the masses and have an army of followers willing to do all that is asked. Nations still go to war in God's name, and it is always these few that profit from it. Their evil saw them create differing signs locked in a never-ending war that continues today. While most people have seen the light and truth, there is many who are still caught in this evil regime of fear of their souls after they leave their mortal lives. For more than 100 years the Jedi had agreed to stop this and carve a path for them to reintroduce themselves to the world, which began in the early comic books about man with the power of gods, but with a duty to the people, a time many superheroes were born and loved by many and are seen as the core of the Jedi way. A duty to the people. The Force is very real to the Jedi, and it is exactly as told within the films. Though the powers are drawn from the nature of the planet and affect different people. Just weeks before the reveal, the news Disney had brought Lucas and Star Wars was a shock to many. Not just the Jedi. It meant that the powers that controlled the people were scared of the many fans who in the UK had Jedism recognized as a religion. Although it is not, the message was clear. The 6 films hold the message and hopes of the Jedi for the people of the world. Many would see this message and join the quest to search for the same knowledge. Now that the Star Wars message is gone with the new films, which want the Jedi to end. Just as their other acquisition Marvel, which saw the Avengers facing an ultimate rival who only wanted good for the universe and the mass elimination of the population is seen as a noble act for the sake of the rest, there would be more for everyone else. That is the ideology of orders like the Illuminati and the Freemasons. The act was challenged in the sequel, but the message was a clear statement of what they are planning for the world. The Jedi have allied themselves with a new generation of scientists to unlock the secrets of the past. A message sent by a lost civilization, a warning of things to come. Unless these questions can be answered, there could be a certain fate for most people. So watch out for more on the rising of the Skywalkers as they unlock the truth the world will be wanting to hear.
Stay away from here. I don't want you close to me. Stop taking on my end. Between dark and light, I will find my answer. I drop it down real low. This is what we came here for. Why don't you leave me alone? Why don't you get along?
This was later found to be true by the Jedi, but with small numbers had very little hope of defeating it, although they had a hand in many events that it would come to rely on to continue. The implication of this lie is a shock for most, so the path had to be gradual with small actions that would change a course of events. Though there is much more than the world is not yet ready for, but are being gradually led to it with the help of Jedi actions such as Star Wars, and with the early comics setting a fanatical love of the superheroes, a man with the powers of gods and Jedi-like able to downplay these powers as normal for many other things than gods, which all have their morals finally set to help mankind and serve as a duty to the people, even explaining the first known references to the Force and the act that controls it. X-Men and the spin-off universe saw a school for gifted people who all have this X gene, a natural evolutionary step in mankind. Although they are mentioned as mutants, the premise is that it is okay to be different, with a community that is safe under the schooling of Professor X. This would change how people looked at these unusual abilities and even give rise to world leaders seeking out the true source, which on occasion has given them a reason to classify certain things. Another censorship of knowledge that they know science want to know, but why?